Okay, one thing which is very important to understand is the exposure compensation. You see, what happens most of the time is when you take a photo, you press the shutter speed, you press the button on your camera and you take a shot, for example, this shot in the middle. The camera is going to tell you, okay, here's the photo, this is what I consider to be a proper exposure. Now that's what the camera, based on a database, based on thousands and thousands of examples around the world, is going to calculate the time and is going to give you a photo and is going to consider that photo to be a proper exposure. Now, what if you want to get the photo darker? What if you want to get the photo lighter? Is there a fast way to do that? You could, of course, go manual or, and forced in some slower or faster shutter speed. But there is a very easy way to do that on all the camera. It's called the exposure composition. The way it works is you have, basically you press a button. So it's different on various cameras. Most of the time, this is a symbol of the exposure compensation. You press that button, and then on the screen, you have this settings appearing, and you can go left to go darker with using usually the wheel. It shows you a little symbol of the wheel. You have a wheel on your camera, and if you turn the wheel to the left, your photo is going to go darker, and if you turn to the right, your photo is going to go brighter. And basically, so you set your compensation, either to the left or to the right, and you retake the photo. And if you went to the left, your next photo is going to be a bit darker, and if you go to the right, your photo is going to be a bit brighter. And the camera is going to change the settings. Usually it's going to, if you're in AV mode, it's going to play with the speed just to make the photo darker or brighter. For example, on the Canon 5D Mark II, which is what I use, I don't use this AV mode button. I just press the button and I use the wheel here. And if I go right, it's going to make my little thing go to the right, and my next photo is going to be brighter. And if I go the other way around, it's going to go to the left, and my next photo is going to be darker. I used exposure compensation all the time. I just take the photo, is it all right, or it needs to be a bit darker or brighter, and then I just press that button or use that wheel and change it right away. You have to find it on your camera, but that's very important, exposure compensation. Now, to finish on all these different modes, all non-professional camera have a lot of other modes, where you see a sun, you see a flower, a man running, mountains, a portrait. What is this modes? Well, I said here, try not to use them if you understand aperture or time value mode, because what this mode does is that it sets the camera for you, but very often it's not very right. For example, if you put it on portrait, with the symbol of this young lady, what is it going to do? It's going to open up the aperture to the max, and it's going to take the photo because it knows that portrait, usually the person is sharp and the rest is blurry. If you put the mountains as a symbol, it's going to do the opposite. It's going to try to close down the aperture, put it around f7 or f8, and you take the shot. But you will get more creative and you get a lot more result just using the AV mode or the manual mode. I advise you to start by using the AV mode, and you just play around. You take portraits, you just open up your aperture, you take landscape, you close your aperture. That's it. And try to avoid all these modes, because they will get you the AV mode will get you a lot better result and a lot more control on the light.